These three truths: that multiple connections protect you from vulnerability but prevent death, that spreading yourself creates the illusion of connection while guaranteeing isolation, and that you keep options because you're afraid of being fully seen, create the perfect conditions for commitment phobia disguised as abundance. Together, they explain why someone can be surrounded by people who want them while feeling profoundly alone, why having options doesn't create satisfaction, why connection without commitment leaves you empty, why no relationship ever feels quite right. The protection keeps you safe from rejection. The fragmentation keeps you being fully known. The fear keeps you from risking real vulnerability. And in the space between these forces, loneliness grows, not despite your connections, but because of how you're approaching them. But there is another way, a path beyond the armor of options and the loneliness it creates. This path begins with a radical proposition. What if the vulnerability you're avoiding is actually the gateway to the love you're seeking? What if being fully known with all your flaws, fears, and contradictions is the only path to being fully loved? What if the risk of commitment is actually less painful than the guaranteed loneliness of protection? Imagine a life where you didn't need backup plans, where you could be fully present in one connection without managing others in your mind, where you could show your complete self without fear, where you could commit fully because you're not terrified of being fully seen. Imagine a relationship where you don't have to edit yourself, where you don't have to perform different versions for different situations, where you can be completely honest about your life, your feelings, your fears, your desires. Imagine the relief of not managing multiple realities, the freedom of not keeping stories straight, the peace of being able to be fully yourself in one place rather than split across many. Imagine being truly known, all of you, not just the created parts, and being chosen anyway. This isn't fantasy. This is what becomes possible when you stop using options as armor and start risking real vulnerability. But getting there requires facing the fear you've been avoiding, the fear that your full self might not be enough. And here's the truth about that fear. The only way to find out if it's true is to risk it. The only way to discover if you're lovable is to let someone actually see you. The only way to experience being fully loved is to allow yourself to be fully known. Start with this practice. Notice when you're maintaining distance to protect yourself. Notice when you're keeping someone around, not because you genuinely want them, but because having them as an option feels safer than being alone. Notice when you're performing connection rather than risking intimacy. These moments, they reveal where the fear is operating in your life. They show you where you're choosing protection over pretense, safety over vulnerability, options over depth. When you notice these patterns, try this. Ask yourself, what am I actually afraid of? What am I actually afraid would happen if I committed fully to one person? What am I protecting myself from? Often you'll discover you're protecting yourself from the possibility that if someone truly knew you, they'd leave, that your full self isn't enough, that the vulnerability of commitment would expose you to devastating rejection. Then ask yourself, what am I losing by protecting myself this way? What kind of love am I preventing by keeping my armor up? These questions begin to shift your relationship with commitment. They help you to see that the protection you're maintaining is costing you the very intimacy you're seeking. Next, practice full presence in one connection. Not perfect presence, full presence. Show up completely. Be honest about your life. Share the parts of yourself you usually hide. Risk being seen. And this will, of course, feel terrifying at first. Every instinct will tell you to maintain distance, keep options, protect yourself. Your mind will generate reasons why this person isn't right, why you should keep looking, why commitment is premature. Notice these thoughts without acting on them. Recognize them as fear trying to pull you back into protection, and choose vulnerability anyway. Not because you're certain it will work out, but because the alternative is guaranteed loneliness. And here's what might happen. You might discover that being fully known doesn't lead to rejection, that showing your complete self actually deepens the connection, that the vulnerability you've been avoiding is actually what creates real intimacy. Or you might discover that this particular person can't meet you in that depth. And while that would be painful, it would also be information. It would tell you that the connection wasn't actually right, not because you're not enough, but because the fit wasn't there. Either way, you'll be living authentically rather than hiding behind options. You'll be risking real love rather than settling for protected loneliness. You'll be choosing presence over performance. And finally, examine your relationship with options themselves. Are you keeping them because you genuinely haven't found a connection worth committing to? Or are you keeping them because committing to one person feels too vulnerable? And be honest with yourself. If you're choosing options as protection, if you're maintaining backup plans specifically so no one becomes too important, then the issue isn't about finding the right person. It's about your relationship with vulnerability itself. And until you address that, no person will ever feel right enough to commit to, because the problem isn't them, it's your fear of being fully seen. And this isn't a quick fix. Commitment phobia has deep roots in past experiences, attachment wounds, and learned protection strategies. Changing your relationship with vulnerability is a practice, not a destination. But with one or each moment you choose presence over protection, with each time you risk being fully seen, with each time or each step you towards real commitment despite your fear, you weaken the patterns hold on your life. You begin to discover what Neo and all of us caught in this pattern need to discover: that the vulnerability you're avoiding is actually the gateway to the love you're seeking. That being fully known is the path or only path to being fully loved. That the risk of commitment is less painful than the guaranteed loneliness of protection.